Hi guys, welcome to Reensplace. This afternoon I'm making an apple cinnamon white cake, and this is like a super easy recipe. It's so good. It's like the whole taste of everything that's good about fall and autumn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my stand mixer here, and I will remove my bowl cover. Reversible. Okay, we'll remove that. And into my mixer bowl, I'm going to start with, let's see, actually before I even start that, this is like a white cake and it's got a cinnamon swirl in the middle. So I like to use a tube pan or a bud pan. You could also do it in a loaf pan. It really doesn't matter. I use a tube pan. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to measure out the stuff to make the little swirl. And all it is brown sugar and cinnamon. So that's going to be, how much sugar? 1/3 cup of brown sugar. And a teaspoon of cinnamon. This is one of Chuck's favorite recipes for the fall. And we buy our apples at a local orchard, and they are so good. In fact, you need 2 apples diced up for this recipe. And I always do a 3rd one just so I can snack on it. Okay, so that's the little ring that you're going to make in it. I'm just going to put that over to the side. You have to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. I'm using a Temptations tube pan, and so I don't like to put my Temptations into a preheated oven. So what I do is I put the cake mix in, and then I put the oven on. Once I put the cake in the oven, when it hits temperature, then I start timing. But if you have a regular metal pan that you're going to use, or you're not scared to put it in, then you can go ahead and preheat now. Okay, so what we're doing is, in the mixing bowl, we're going to add the white sugar and butter. I forgot to grab the butter out of the microwave. You're supposed to have a 1/2 cup of softened butter. I forgot to take it out, so I just chopped it up in small pieces, and I put it in my microwave for 10 seconds, and then I let it just sit into the warm microwave. So let me give you the ingredients quick, and then I will put them also in the description box so that you can jot them down if you'd like. You're going to need 1/3 cup of brown sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon for the swirl. You're also going to need 2/3 cup of white sugar, a 1/2 cup of softened butter, 2 eggs, 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1 1/2 cups of flour, 1 3/4 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/2 cup of milk, and 2 apples that are peeled and fine, small dice. I'll show you what I did. That's how I made mine. I suppose you could even do slices, but I always do mine in a small dice. Okay, so let me measure out the sugar, and then we'll run over to the microwave and grab that. We'll grab the butter. Okay, so I need 2/3 cup of sugar. I'm going to grab the butter. Okay, that's a 1/2 stick, 1 stick or 1/2 cup of butter. I need my paddle. And this also could be made by hand, but if you have a mixer, it's, I think, so much easier. Okay, put that up there. Get that going. Oh, you know what? If I plugged it in, it probably would work better, huh? Ouch. I normally have it plugged in, but I unplugged it. Okay. Okay, so we're going to mix this, beat it up till it's just creamy, and then we're going to add to it our eggs one at a time, and we have 2 of them. I'm going to make it a little faster. I'm just reusing that butter bowl to crack my eggs in. And the other one. And I'm going to stop it, and I'm just going to push, because my butter wasn't softened all the way, I'm just pushing it in there. We'll get that mixed in nicely. And I've made this recipe a lot. Chuck really likes this one. So, you know, you can't really mess it up because I tend to be impatient. And so a lot of the times I just throw stuff in. I'm going to put it back on. 1½ teaspoons of vanilla. I just kind of eyeball it. Going a little higher. Okay. Now to this I'm going to be adding my flour, my baking powder, and then I'm going to stir it again. So, did I add the milk? When did I add the milk? Let's see. It's been since last fall since I've made this, so bear with me. Okay, we're doing the flour and the baking powder next. So that's going to be 1½ cups of flour, and I'm just using all-purpose flour. That's a half, I'm sorry. And then that would make 1½ and then I'm going to add my 1 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And I just kind of put it on the flour, and then I'll mix it up a little bit. And then I just mix it in the flour just a little bit like that before I mix it into the batter. Okay? Start off slow. Going a little higher now. And then this cake certainly has an old-fashioned taste to it. It's just simple ingredients. I'm going to start adding the milk in. That's a ½ cup. And it's going to be a nice thick batter. Okay, while that's mixing, I'm just going to come on over here and let me put these apples over here a minute. I'm going to use some pan baking spray, or you could butter and flour your pan if you don't have spray. Whichever you have is fine. I've done it both ways. And you just want to give it a nice coat. Okay. Okay, now my batter's done. I'm going to grab this off of here for you. You know what? Let me put the camera to my right. I'm having a little trouble with my audio, but Chuck has bought me a new piece for my camera, so hopefully he'll be able to fix that for me tonight, and then we'll be back in business. But here we go. Okay, so I'm going to use my... And do you see how nice and creamy that looks? It really is a good looking batter. Get the rest of it off of your beater. This is so like buttery and good. Okay. And now we're just going to fold in the apples that we chopped. So this is 2 apples. And they were nice size apples. They weren't too big, not too small. Just fold them in. And I'm not like a big apple, like I don't like baked apples so much. I like, like not like apple pie. I like fresh apples. I like little bits of apples in things like biscuits and stuff like that, or I like dehydrated apple chips. But this cake I even like the apple donuts that I made the other day. I like those too. I think the apples are small enough that it doesn't bother me. Okay, so we have a nice appley thick batter, and what we do next is we're going to put half of it half of this batter into the tube pan. And it's not exact, so just do the best you can. Okay, let's see. Okay. Let me show you what I got here. So I have this like this right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this spoon and I'm just going to kind of make a little tiny like indent in the middle. Like almost like a little well or a little moat. And it doesn't have to be deep because it's not perfect, so it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to take half of this mixture and just kind of sprinkle it into that little well that I made. My mom loves this cake as well. I gave her the recipe, but I think she only eats it over here. Okay, so that's about half, maybe a little bit better than half. And now I'm going to put the remainder of my batter on top of it. And so I just try to go directly on top of the cinnamon sugar mixture, and then I'll move it around best I can. I'm going to try to get every little bit of batter that I can in here so that I can cover it. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm just going to push through even though they're barking because we're right at the end. And now I'm just going to sprinkle the remainder of this brown sugar with cinnamon mixture that I made. That could be Chuck. He's out and he might be coming back. I'm not sure if that's him pulling in. I think it's a little early for him. But okay, so that's all we have here. Now I'm going to, again, I put it in a 350 degree oven now, and you can preheat it if you're using a metal pan, but I want to protect my temptation, so I'm going to put it in a cold oven, and then when it gets to 350 degrees, then I will set my timer for 40 minutes. I'll check it then, and it might go another 5 minutes, I'm not sure. So let me put this in, and I will bring you back when it beeps, and we can look at it together. Okay, be back in about 40 minutes or so. Okay guys, we're back. It's been 40 minutes, 350 degrees. I'm just going to test it. It's got a little crumb on it, but nothing wet, so we're done. I'm going to turn my oven off. We're going to let it cool for a little while, and then I will come back with you, and we'll flip it out of the pan and give it a cut and see what it looks like on the inside. All right, see you. Okay, I'm back. It's cooler now. I'm going to use a little spatula around the edges. In the middle. And then this tube pan comes with a tray, but if yours doesn't, just use a plate. And there is the apple cake. It smells really good. Some of the apples are peeking through over here. And then I'm just going to hit it with a dusting of powdered sugar. I think I'm going to have to fill this up soon. I can hear like a lumpy piece inside. And there's Winnie adding. Okay, I will fill that up later. But let me cut a piece out and show you what it looks like. This is Chuck's favorite. Chuck, would you say that apple cake is your favorite?
One of mine.
One of his favorites. He also likes the black magic cake with the peanut butter frosting. And a good butter cake with chocolate frosting. I want to give him the apple piece here, that's why I'm moving it around. Okay. And there is the, this is like an old-fashioned white apple cake. Okay guys, I hope you like the recipe. I hope you give it a try. If you haven't done so already, please hit that red subscribe button. Any questions, leave it in the comments section below, and I will also leave the written recipe below. Alright guys, thank you. Talk to you soon.